had to get emancipated, they were going to take him away. The doctors would find possible cancer in my mother. The military took me away for 11 years and I couldn't be there for my family. I broke my rib in June. There was no breathing. I was not able to speak. I lost everything. Your life is going to be really, really hard forever.
I'm Travis Purdy, an alcoholic in recovery dedicated to giving back to the community that saved me. Join me and my incredible guests on our mission to break the stigma around mental health. One conversation at a time. This is Listen to Your Heart.
Welcome back to Listen to Your Heart, a show about mental health from a mental health company. My name is Travis Purdy, and it's my goal to bring you different experts, people in the field of mental health, fitness, nutrition, culture, education, and hopefully we can all share some valuable tips on how to live a healthier life. So my guest today is a fantastic CrossFit coach. She's a wonderful nutrition coach, certified personal trainer, and somebody I've worked with for a little bit now, about a year, which I'll get to in a little bit. I have the wonderful Eli Dawdy today on our show. Eli, how's it going?
It's great. It's great, Travis. Glad to be here.
So we've only known each other for about a year or so. We started working together at a gym, CrossFit West Oahu, on the west side of Oahu. We know you coach, you're a nutrition coach now. We know you've been doing fitness for a little while, but let's go back to the beginning. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up right smack dab in the center of the United States. I grew up in Topeka, Kansas. And, I was always brainy. I was always really brainy, and a violin player, but not active.
Really? Okay. I didn't know that.
No, not at all. I did not like that. Oh, better back off. That moment in PE class where my face would start to get a little rosy and a little bit sweaty. Did not like that. Got to back off at that. Doctors would come in and be like, oh, well, maybe I think she has exercise-induced asthma. I ain't have no exercise-induced asthma. No. I wasn't trained. I didn't know how to exert myself. And so I pushed in other areas. I pushed academically and musically. So as a kid.
Very cool. And then you went to Kansas State, go Wildcats, right? Is that correct? Kind of, sort of. Is it kind of a mix? I'm
pretty rare. I fell in love with my boyfriend in high school, and I wanted to run away with him. And at 16 he proposed, and I was so in love with him, and it was an instant yes. I was blessed enough to have the support of my mother, and I was very blessed for that because I didn't have anyone else's support. What I was doing was very rare. 16-year-olds can't get married. 16-year-olds can't graduate from high school, but I did. In order to get married and then I would turn 17, and then that's when we had our grand day. But to be 17, you can't get married. So we legally in the state of Kansas, I had to get emancipated. I come from a very loving family. My mother and I are best friends now as adults. We've always been very, very close. So I come from a very strong, very loving and healthy home. So my mom had to emancipate me so I could be married to him. And we ran away together at the age of 17 and 18. And the Army just plucked us and just took us. So as a 17-year-old, I was plucked and moved out to Prescott, Arizona, where his first college was. And so then I just tried to get my education wherever I could. My first small degree was from Yavapai College. I was blessed too to be a Native American and to be able to go to college on it wasn't my reservation, but to be able to go to college on another Indian reservation. Um, that was amazing for me. And so I got my associates in Prescott, Arizona, but we were only there for 3 years.
Okay.
Plucked up again. Then I got a semester in San Jose, Costa Rica. And that
I
was the
saw
most
that. I saw a CR, right? Obviously, I tried to do as much as I could to learn about you without talking to you. And I was like, is that Costa Rica? How freaking cool.
Yeah. When I was 20, so of course I married him at 17, and when I was
Mhm.
20, was when I realized that they were going to take him away, and they were going to
Mm.
take him away for 10 months. And I thought that was horrible. And I was like, well, I could stay in my hometown. No, 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 no. I'm going to do something wild. And so I went to Costa Rica. I didn't know anyone. I didn't have anyone, but I found programs, and I made a good little 3, 4 months there.
Wow, that is so cool. Okay, so I just learned a lot about you in like 6 minutes or whatever. So my head kind of goes to like, what is it kind of uh like you said, yeah, you're technically too young to get married, so you have to get emancipated, right? So then there's that whole thing. If you don't mind sharing, and if you don't want to, no worries, we can move on and I can ask you something else. But I know you said your mom was super supportive. That's excellent. How did like, like the rest, do you have siblings? Like how do the rest of your family kind of, well, take that?
His family was scared.
Mm.
His family was scared. But they said, we can see how happy you are together. So, okay. On my wedding day, my grandma pulled the old, like, she like opened the back door of the church. It's not too late. Run. And I was like,
Grandma?
what is wrong with you? Yeah. It kind of like that. My teachers were not supportive.
Mm,
Um, my friends loved me. And so my friends were like, Jay is it for you. We know it. Go. Go. And so I found that support where I could. But I mean, I would wear my wedding ring on my hand, and people were not kind. People were not kind. They assumed that everyone just was like immediately, oh, well, she's knocked up. And then to find out, no, I was not pregnant, and I was actually graduating high school an
early.
entire
Yeah.
year early.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with the support, and with the support of my husband, my boyfriend and I were both in the gifted program for many, many years. And so with the support of the gifted program, they wrote in our IEP, an individualized
Yeah.
education plan,
Yeah.
which is a legally binding document that once they wrote it in that I was to graduate high school in 3 years, it was legal, and so there's nothing that anyone could do. And even though I skipped 1 year, I was still runner up for valedictorian, even coming into missing
So
a
cool.
year.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool. Hey, I mean, you said it to start off like you've always been kind of brainy into a lot of different things other than athletics apparently, which is funny considering the nature of your work now, right? so so
The
that
fitness
so
and
that
nutrition
happens.
is my whole passion
Yeah,
now.
yeah. You know what I love is I love how you said you just kind of found support where you could, because I mean shoot, that's just sometimes how it works. Obviously I have my own story, growing up in this world and so on. So yeah, right. And sometimes it's not from the places that maybe it's supposed to, quote unquote, right? But like you said, I like the way you phrased that. So fast forward, now you're 20, you're now husband. I'm assuming he's on like deployment. That's why he was gone for like 10 months.
Yes. When they first commission from college into the Army, they go through captain's career course. It's
Oh,
a
okay, cool.
nine, yeah, it's a 9 month stint, and yeah, he could be at one post for the whole time. I think he switched and he went to several, and there was no way. There was no way that I think it was like, yeah, it was like maybe 2 or 3 over the course of that 10 months that, and he said, well, I'm going to be gone for 9 or 10 months. And I said, okay, cool. And he goes, you can't come. And so that's
Oh.
where Costa Rica came. And yeah, and so I went to Costa Rica, and I always had a passion for Spanish. As a child in Topeka, uh, back in the 90s,
Yeah.
Spanish was mandatory.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Mhm.
that's cool.
There was 1 hour a day, every day, that the Spanish teacher would come in, and that was it. And I loved it. I loved it. I had such a passion. I would hear Spanish in songs. I would hear Spanish in movies. The movie Selena came out when I was young, and I was like, I'm obsessed with this.
Heck yeah. It's a beautiful language. Beautiful language.
Yeah. And then after my time in Costa Rica, I was like, okay. He had been assigned to Fort Riley, Kansas, which was wonderful because it was close-ish to home.
Yeah.
For us. And so once he was assigned there, I said, wonderful, I'll go ahead and enroll in K-State, because Kansas State University, because I did, my dream was always to be a teacher. And so I knew college was just college was happening. I just always knew it would. But with our lifestyle of being plucked and moved by the military, I knew I'd finish eventually. I knew I'd get there. And so finally, when I was 24, I graduated from Kansas State University, third college, third time's a charm. And
Nice.
and before, I was so grateful and so blessed before I before so when I graduated, I was blessed and I made wonderful connections. I was really good at networking. I had secured a job at such an amazing school, that I still miss. So getting that job fresh off the bat, and so that started my teaching career.
How long were you a teacher? I remember that you were a teacher. Yeah.
5 years.
5 years. Yeah. Tell us about
Five
that. There's got to be some like really cool things that stand out about your teaching time.
5 beautiful years. First and second grade. One of the years, we were in Houston, and we were in. I'm not kidding. We were in NASA's back pocket. So right in Houston, in Clear Creek, is where like their headquarters and their main campus is, and my home was behind it. And I taught at an elementary school right down the street, and all of the children were very high income,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of privilege. Um,
Sure. Yeah.
it was wonderful, but it was it was far contrast from the humble beginnings that we had had. And so I, as they say, you're either going to be driven by one of two forces. Your yearning
Mm.
or your discontent. And I had discontent there because I didn't understand the struggles of those kids.
Mm.
And so, I don't like my nanny. My mom is never home. They got me the wrong video game, just these problems that can't
Ultra
relate.
first world. Yeah.
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 And so there was a need in my heart to really be somewhere that really, really needed me. I got some amazing teaching experience there, but I don't feel that I really just found my own until I so following that, so 4 years into my teaching, my husband would be reassigned again.
Mm.
And this assignment was in Korea. They told us straight up, this is a hardship tour, and you absolutely cannot come because it is a hardship tour. It is only 1 year. And afterward, we'll give you any location that you want at all. Thank you for serving the United States this way. That's the deal. So I did move home. I moved home. I moved back into my parents' house, childhood bedroom
That
as
must have been
a
weird, right? Like, because at that point, how long had you been away already?
11 years.
Yeah, that must have been real weird.
11 years. Yeah, I was 28 when I returned home. And my mom and my dad, just as supportive as ever, just as loving as ever. But yeah, it was hard. It was hard. It was lonely, but everything even that, tiny segue, everything happens for a reason. 3 days into that hardship tour, the doctors would find tumors, possible cancer in my mother.
Gosh.
And instantly, I knew I was there. I was there so that the military took me away for 11 years and I couldn't be there for my family, physically present for 11 years. That's a big wound. So for 1 year, I got to be there on the front lines and hug my family when they needed it and spend boring Saturdays on the couch, and so healing and necessary. And and the year went quick, and then we got back together, and then we were shipped to Oahu, to the Hawaiian.
Yeah. Which you get to choose, right? Which you get to choose.
We got to choose.
That is
Yes.
so cool. Yeah.
Yes.
Why'd you guys? I mean, you know what? I don't think we ask it enough, because we think we know the answer. Obviously, Hawaii's home to me, but like, why did you guys choose Hawaii?
Beaches.
Beaches. Okay, cool. Love that.
Yeah. I love the I miss that the most about Costa Rica, and then even leaving Clear Creek, Houston. I loved all the water around all the time, and so I was like, I would like to be around water again.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though, I'm not much of a water person, not much of a beach person. However, I guess because I grew up around it, right? If I'm not near it or if I can't see it every now and then, it's like something doesn't feel right. So yeah, I totally get that.
It's a deep peace that's just unattainable.
Yeah, no, man, that's beautiful. I love the way you put that. Okay, so now teaching. You're
Yes.
right about 5 years in now. Now you live in Hawaii, and where does like kind of fitness and nutrition start kind of making its way into your life, into your work?
Well, started creeping in barely like this. So in my first or second, no, it was my first year of teaching. In order to save money and with where the military had placed us, I was lonely. I was lonely, and I was driving, and I saw these wild women out on Sonic parking lot. Woo! And they had tutus and they looked nuts, and they had fishnets on them, and I was like, I'm obsessed. I want to be your friend.
Oh, that's too good.
And that is how I joined a roller derby team.
Wow, that is damn. Okay, so you're on a roller derby team. Where was this?
I got my roller derby start in Junction City, Kansas.
Okay.
I was a stone cold fox.
Yeah.
And I went by the name Ellie Scissorhands because when I skate like this.
Oh, okay. Or you like stabbing the air? You're going right at it?
That's what I was accused of. And
okay.
So they lovingly donned me Ellie Scissorhands, and it stuck
that.
forever.
That's so great. That is so good.
So in the pursuit, I loved roller derby and I loved to skate. it didn't feel like exercise. It didn't feel
Yeah.
like work to me. And I'm a people pleaser. So anything somebody tells me to do, I was like, sure, sure. This big scary lady is telling me to squat and skate. I will do it forever. Um, but climbing my way up through the competitive, and so I started to get decent. I started to go towards more competitive teams, and then and I that's where my teaching career started to die, was
Mm.
because I
Roller
could
derby is taking
only
off?
I could only be in a location for 2 years.
Mm. Yep.
So, my teaching career was so unstable, and it was constantly changing and constantly scrambling, but I realized that the only constant was roller derby. And so I started to realize, hey, if you want to stay in this education thing, you're going to struggle, and your life is going to be really, really hard for forever. It's also not super respected. So they want teachers to stay in the same building, same room for 20 years, and I wasn't able.
Right. Right.
And then 4 years of competitive roller derby. I mean, in my final season, I was playing travel team for Houston Roller Derby. In my time on that team, the amount I was able to contribute, I was not a superstar, but I just liked my friends. Um, Houston Roller Derby travel team was number 35, number 36 in the world at the time.
That's
Um,
cool.
our team played on ESPN. We traveled. Yeah, we would make appearances in other states and just fly a lot. It wasn't for me.
All the traveling around and just kind of the logistics of all that.
The pressure,
Oh,
the pressure.
okay.
It
Yeah.
was,
Tell us a little more about that.
yeah. I learned that I do not thrive under strict, hard, cut your throat competition.
Mm, mm.
And that's when I realized I don't think I don't think this level is for me anymore. I was not willing to injure somebody or to really just take them out to get their spot and to win. I think in my final game, I had a bruised sternum. I had my fingers and my hands rolled over and stomped about 3 times. Um, when I left roller derby, I had a bruised coccyx.
Oh
Just
gosh.
from,
Oh
yeah,
gosh. I I get sorry. Just reminded me of some of the like crappiest long-term painful thing that I've had to deal with as an adult. And this is like when I was still drinking. So I didn't go and get it diagnosed or whatever, but I know this, my freaking tailbone for years was painful to sit on. That's what I
yeah,
knew. And then oh gosh.
yeah. And and at this point, in order to play at that high elite competitive level, they would make us cross train. And I realized, wow, I am happiest. I'm not happy at practice anymore. I'm not happy at games. Man, but I am really, really into that whole outside working out thing. I really, really like
The
that.
fitness thing, I'm liking that.
And once I found CrossFit, it was like, it was a
Yep, many of us
chance.
can relate, definitely.
Yeah, it was a chance to exert myself to that intensity level that I craved. Um, but it was going to be gentle to me. No one was going to hurt me. Nobody was going to come after me. And I just was like, this is a safe level of competition for me. And I really thrived under it, and I fell in love. And then I started to learn I'm going to cut off these things in my life that make me have that scary feeling in my stomach. And man, my life is just so good. And so that was my start in the fitness world. And
That is
so
so cool. What year was this?
oh, and here's where the story turns. Here's where
Okay.
you'll find. I decided to leave roller derby
Okay.
and leave education in August of 2019.
2019. Wow. Okay.
And we, of course, know that
Yeah.
7 short months later.
Yeah.
So it was meant to be. It was meant to be. I was meant to learn everything I needed as a teacher. I was meant to be trained. So that was the missing piece as a child. I didn't know how to exert myself. Roller derby taught me that. And CrossFit has just helped me hone in to me. And the beauty of CrossFit is it uses all of those gifts. It uses my teaching. It uses my high intensity. It uses my enthusiasm. And all those things just take. CrossFit just gives.
It really does. What's funny is I wasn't going to ask you, like, why'd you stop teaching? Because that's not how I see that, right? Like your career may have changed, but you didn't stop teaching. I know I've not known you since 2019, but as long as I've known you, you've still been a teacher, right? It's just not at an elementary school for a Department of Education, right? It's one-on-one with people, talking about nutrition and helping them kind of with their habits or teaching them recipes or different. I love your kind of quick tips, like when you're on the move and on the go. I love what I've seen from you for in that area. And then of course, teaching a class, right? I've only known you to be a teacher, even though you don't work at a Department of Education.
Thank you. That's such an honor for me. Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I say it all the time. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. There's so many people who don't love what they do. Not
Yeah,
me. Not me.
yeah. No, you're right. I just saw this really great kind of post on that. I think it was from Adam Grant, right? A psychologist guy. And he talked about how unfortunately some people who love their job have, well, not treated other people so nicely, almost like in a judgment way, like, man, I love what I do, like you suck, or something along those lines. I'm taking that a little out of context, but that was the main message. And I just thought, well, what you said, like, man, at least for me, I've spent years hating my work. In my previous life, I've gone to work actively and hated it, and that sucks. And I wouldn't wish that on I wouldn't wish that on anyone, even someone I don't like. Like I wouldn't wish that on anyone. So to to feel your work in that way, like you love your work, and now it's very different for me too. I love what I'm doing now, and I just like you said, I just feel grateful, and actually I'm a little more empathetic, maybe a little sad, and I wish for people who are in a situation where they hate it, like oh man, I hope they get a chance um, to feel what it's like to love going to work.
I totally agree. And in that same thought, I I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. I'm I'm not everyone's coach, but at the last gym that I worked at in Kansas, I worked for Cobra Command CrossFit, and they just
Like
did
the
a,
coolest name, man. That
a
is one of
full.
like the coolest CrossFit gym names, I gotta say. I was born in the 80s, but I really grew up in the early 90s, and so I love the name of their gym. I've never been, I don't know anybody who goes there or anything. I know you and I have talked about Cobra Command a little bit, but I just think that's the coolest gym name, man.
Yes, there. The owner, Jill Glasnap, was just and she continues to be such an amazing mentor to me. And she really helped us hone in every single coach that works for her. She said, you need to find your avatar client. You need to if you don't know who your avatar is, then you don't know who you're selling to. So you're just putting all these, you're just throwing darts in the dark. You don't know what you're doing. Um, and I think I come from, I think I have a very unique and very special audience in the fitness and nutrition industry because of where I came from. I am so transparent with all my clients. I'm like, the first time I ever tried to do a toe-to bar, I held that bar and I stood on a box for 20 minutes and openly sobbed in the gym. Embarrassing. like I was so terrified of everything. I was addicted to terrible things. I was like, I thought that when I was young, when I was in my teens and 20s, I thought everybody drank. Every time everybody drinks, they just black out. I didn't know. When I would get stressed, I would eat like half a bag of candy. Just like, so who better than me? I can understand.
Yeah.
I can know what it feels like, and I can empathize, and I can help show people the way out because I made it, and help them get those steps. That's what I'm all about in the fitness industry. Is if you're by yourself, the rungs on the ladder are so far. All I do as instructor is just bring them closer together to find the next step. Yeah, and that's my job.
Yeah. And I like the way you describe yourself as a coach. So for me, I got into CrossFit about 10 years ago, I guess. Close, about 10 years ago. And the short of it is many, many years ago, I used to be a smoker, like cigarettes. I quit that like 20 years ago. And then I used to be 300 pounds a bunch of years ago. Not that anymore. And then, like a lot of people know, I am a all pro level alcoholic, and now I've been sober for almost 10 years. Found CrossFit about the same time I got sober. And one of the things, CrossFit does a lot of great things. Like I actually love how you describe that CrossFit like gives, and you're absolutely right. I mean, that's how I know you. We met through CrossFit, right? Let's just call it that. And I've made a lot of really good friendships, people that are now like family to me, all through CrossFit, and not just in our home state in Hawaii, but all across America, and a few people I know who are not from America. And I met them all through CrossFit. So like you said, it's definitely given me a lot, not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally, right? All the good things, all the good things. One thing I always thought that one thing that I think helps, or rather hurts CrossFit, kind of helps give it the bad reputation, is there are a lot of coaches out there, and it's like I apologize to you guys out there. I'm not trying to blast you, but it's just there are a lot of coaches out there that are young. That's not bad. Young is not a bad thing, but I feel like there's a lot of coaches that have only been super in shape. I love how you started and said athletics and like sports and working out and getting sweaty was not really your thing. Because
oh my god, it's red. Better stop.
Right, exactly. So when I've run into these coaches, they know what they're doing. I'm not saying they're not, but it's like, but I also know you're 26 or whatever, and you've been in shape for 26 years, man, or woman, or whomever. So I always tend to gravitate more towards coaches that I know have like lived outside of being athletic, right? Because for myself, I love sports. I still love sports to this day. But there are few times that I fell out of working out, fell out of my own fitness, right? So I've been out of shape, and I've been embarrassed to go back to the gym when I used to do, XYZ, or I used to do, such and such. And I have, like faded into the corner of a gym because I'm like, don't feel worthy to be in there. So that's all, I've always taken that with me through my years of coaching.
And I love that you say that. It is a direct parallel. When I was a teacher, well, okay. Other than safety, of course. Yeah, safety. Safety is your number
Sure.
one goal.
Sure.
As a teacher, my number one goal, I did not care about high test scores. I did not care about high achievers. I didn't care. My only thing that I ever wanted was there to be no ghosts in my class. That was so important to me.
No
I
ghosts
didn't.
in your class. Okay.
Mm-mm. Um, children do that. Children do that. They have a way, and not just children. Children are very, very smart. Had a way in classrooms, and you could see it, that they'd be like, if I just stay small and safe and right over here, I don't talk, I don't interact, I don't look, she's never going to call on me. She's never going to reach out to me. She's never going to make me try.
Right.
And I wouldn't allow it because they were too important. They were too important. Their development was too important to me. And so no ghosts. And so as a teacher, in order to not have any ghosts in my room, I needed to build relationships, relationships. And I'm the same in my class. I know what's most of my I know I make it my mission once I work at a new gym. I need to learn every single person's name in 3 months. I need to learn every
Absolutely.
single person's name, and I need to know something about them, because just like my teaching, I will have no ghosts in my classes, in when I am in charge of the gym. There's no ghosts in here. You're gonna know that you're important to me, and you're gonna know that I'm keeping track of you. So yeah, so no.
No fading into the core. I like that. No ghosts.
Yeah, no ghosts.
Okay, so we kind of talked through now you were working at Cobra Command, right? Cobra Command CrossFit. And I love the story about one of your mentors there, one of your important mentors over there. Were you also learning about nutrition at about that same time, or did that come a little later? Because I also know you live in Hawaii now. So at some point you came back to Hawaii, right?
I did. So we were here in Hawaii, and that's when so right before the pandemic.
Okay.
We technically did have a COVID baby, but I was pregnant before it started.
Okay.
I walked into oh my gosh, I walked into that quarantine 6 months pregnant. So
Oh wow.
yeah, I was pregnant when everything shut down, and yeah, it was just time to start our family. But the Army only let us be in Hawaii for 2 years. It was a 3-year assignment, but my husband got promoted quickly. So he would be sent back to Kansas to CGSC is what the official acronym. It's major school. When the soldiers are going to get promoted and become a major, they have to attend 1 year of Army University, basically, and it is a what's the secondary master's. It's a master's program.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So my husband got sent back to Kansas for just 11 months to get his master's. And then at the end, they were like, great job. Hawaii wants you back. So go ahead and go on back.
How nice. How nice.
So we were here for 2 years, gone for 11 months, and then we came back. But by the time we went back to right when I arrived at Cobra Command, I was shaken. I was my confidence was pretty shaken, pretty bad. The gym that I was in before was good for me at one time of my life, but not anymore.
Sure.
I started there because of the high level of competition. But as a new postpartum mom that's breastfeeding and dealing with various degrees of diastasis recti, pelvic floor instability, not a good thing for me anymore. I needed to be nourished. I needed to be taken care of. I needed to not be scrutinized and looked at for how my body looks. And so it was a blessing. It was a blessing to leave at that time. When I arrived at Cobra Command, women owned, mostly mostly women coaches.
Very cool.
My new boss just said, I offer free nutrition to all my coaches. If you are interested, you will be entered into an award-winning nutrition program. And so I was enrolled as a client for, at the time, functional eating. And functional if because I told my coach, the fabulous Meredith De Lamar, that I was doing the best that I could, but I said, if I work out as hard as everybody else, why do I still look like this? Why aren't I as good? Why is everything so much harder for me and for them it's just so easy? And am I doing something wrong? She said, no, no, you're not doing anything wrong. You're underfed. Nobody ever taught you how to eat, Ellie. Nobody ever teaches anybody how to eat. And that was her job. And so she taught me about ratios, high lean protein sources, low fat levels, and high carb levels to fill your glycogen stores so that you have the energy to push for days and days and days and days and just really go the distance. I dropped 18 pounds of pure fat in that program.
Wow.
And I was hooked.
I also got to imagine, as someone who described yourself as brainy, learning those new things right there in the beginning and then starting to see some of that feedback, that must have really like lit you up.
Yes, and through other health difficulties too. I do have a I have a rare nerve disease in my face, and so it's called trigeminal neuralgia. And so at times my face is it's like my face has electrical seizures,
Got it.
and so
Got it.
it
Yeah.
causes shocking pain. And so even still with my new disease and with my diagnosis, my nutrition coach walked me through every single step. There were 10 days at a time, 10-day chunks where I could not eat solid food
Oh gosh.
at all. But through her help and support, I still hit my macros.
Right on.
I have a disease and I can't eat, but I hit my
But I
macros.
hit my macros. Hey, talk about uh let's just say making it happen and taking control of what you can control.
And so they gave me all of the support that they helped me change my entire life. They helped me with nutrition coaching. My mentor Jill helped, and she got me enrolled and set up with a life coach. And the life coach helped me see this gift that I was given, the confidence, being able to build a dream for my life, and being able to fuel and to take care of my body. This is my dream. This is the dream. I want to give I want to take my happiness and I want to teach other people how to get it. And when I came back to Hawaii for tour number 2,
Yep.
started making it happen.
So then that's when you really, somewhere in that time, you really started like working on your nutrition certifications and all those other things, and then start trying to help your first client or two, you kind of here and there, right?
I did. And so, yeah, so shortly after that, I built my own LLC,
Yep.
Elevated Fitness and Nutrition, where I am a CrossFit coach, but under my own licenses, I am a certified personal trainer, a certified nutrition coach. I'm also a corrective exercise specialist. So if there is a problem in the musculature or joints of the body, I am trained to offer personal training and corrective measures to that. So
Excellent.
I'm
Yeah.
certified to work as part of a grand medical team to really help people. So to move and live without pain.
That's awesome. Okay, so now I wanted to ask you this about being a nutrition coach. You get a lot of questions, I'm sure, about food, how to eat, so on, right? Whatever. What are like, I don't know, two or three of the most kind of common questions people ask you about food, eating, nutrition?
How do I get enough protein?
How do I get enough
How?
protein? Nice. Like, how do you get enough protein? Tell us.
I make special resources for my clients just to lay it out so simple. Because the problem is once they do get enough protein, they're like, 150 grams. I cannot believe I had 150 grams. And then we look at their fat, and the fat is like 120 grams. So then we tailor it down. Take a step up, take a step here, take a step up, take a step down. And so I have ready to go resources for my clients that say, here is a lean protein, here is a middle fat protein, and here is a fatty protein. The wonderful thing about this is that you can have bits of all three types.
Nice.
But you cannot have fat, fat, fat. You can have fat and lean. You can have lean, lean, medium. And so then I walk that with them. I text them every day, and just to say, hey, today was really good. Tomorrow, let's make this little switch. And that's all we do. We make little switches because I only have 2 rules for my clients. They can never be hungry, and they can't eat food that they don't like.
Okay. All right. That sounds super doable, right? Kind of for anybody, if whether you struggled with eating enough or not enough or too much for years on end, or someone really trying to get dialed in for, say, performance sake as well, right?
Yes. I think it's pretty doable. And oh my goodness. In my first year of my LLC being active,
Yep.
I had 51 clients over the history of my first year, 365 days. I had 51 people pass through my doors, right?
Right. Yeah. Virtual doors or whatever.
Virtual gym doors. Some of them came into my kitchen.
The literal door. Yeah.
my kitchen door. But over that time, 51, every single one of them lost weight. A little, a lot, all walks and ranges, all of them walked away better. And I couldn't think of anything more amazing than that.
That's great work. Okay, so people ask you, how do I get enough protein? That's kind of like a common thing. What's a question people should ask you about nutrition, food, and eating?
What happens next?
Yeah, expand on that. Yeah, what do you mean? What happens next?
I for both my own LLC and the amazing company that I happen to work for.
Thank you.
The amazing company that I am blessed enough, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, to work for. Everybody, I ask for a 3-month commitment because Rome wasn't built in a day. I won't have people come into my business for a month and go, she sucks. That didn't work.
Yeah. Totally.
We didn't, and I tell them we didn't put it on in a month. We're not going to be able to take it off in a month.
Yeah.
But the thing that makes me the saddest with my clients and with my business is folks who do all the work and lose all the weight, but they're still not happy.
Man. Ellie, we could create a whole nother season of episodes talking about the art of fulfillment. That reminds me of something I've heard from Tony Robbins on many, many occasions. It's the science of achievement, right? Because there's a literal science of how you do the activities and the tasks and the this and the that. And there's a lot of math involved. But it's the art of fulfillment, like you just said. We think that acquiring this external thing or achieving this external task, even though losing weight is a personal thing, right? Like your actual body does it. It's still like something, to me, it still sounds like something outside of yourself that you're looking for, right? A number on the scale, body fat percentage, size of shirt, right? A look from other people. So many, many years ago, when I was 300 pounds, the thing that got me to start losing weight was a couple of negative looks from a couple girls that I asked out. And then, eventually you get there and it's kind of like what you just said, like, well, I still have these other insecurities, fear, right? There's still things that are dragging me down. And yeah, that's that's such a
Yeah.
great question. Yeah.
And so what I try to do with all of my clients and with the other partners that I get to work with the amazing Victoria, we really try to pepper in a lot of, they don't realize that they're being life coached, but we pepper that in along the way because we know if they don't do that deep soul work, they're going to leave us and they're still not going to be happy. And so I try to pepper it in with a lot of reflections throughout the week, like on Fridays and Sundays. Like I say, what did you do this week that you were the most proud of? And you know what? I guarantee you, I have not ever had one person say, I hit my macros perfect every single day, 5 days in a row. They've never said that. It didn't matter. They say, I jump roped with my granddaughter and I just cheer because what a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those deep life things. And I try to really impart the biggest sense of gratitude for their own body. So that no matter what size their body is that day or time or whatever, because it's just a snapshot, that they love their body no matter what.
I love that. I think I remember us talking about this, that you often ask your clients, people you work with, to mention the bright spots, right? Some things that have gone well that they feel good about, not what you're telling them that they did good, that they are telling themselves. You're asking them, but really they're telling themselves what they've done well, because we all kind of tend in our culture to be too hypercritical, mainly of ourselves, right? First and
I feel like
foremost.
you're in here, you're like, I just want to like bring my mom in on this conversation because she goes, I think you're being a little too hard on yourself, girl.
Right. Yeah. We all kind of have our version of that. So, what I love about how you ask people that is it kind of it makes the conversation, right? It brings the conversation up, because who knows? Most people don't ask themselves, at least in my experience, most people don't ask themselves, like, what did I do good this week? Right? Usually, and I'm guilty of this too. I have my calendar, it's got all the blocks, and I'm like, oh man, I could have did a little bit more here, right? Could have been a little more effective there. I do the same thing, but it's those other conversations, like, man, I actually feel good about X, Y, Z. I actually just made a post. I think I posted it yesterday. I was proud of myself for the way I handled some disappointment last week. So I made a video about it because, yes, I put out content, but also it was a good reminder for me to be like, hey, a while back, you would have stayed down in disappointment for longer than you probably should have, but you ended up getting yourself back out faster with simple things. So I think, you allowing your clients the space to acknowledge those positive things, it's excellent. It can only be helpful, right?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. And you know what? That we're a mental health show anyway, so I was gonna ask you about, things related to, what uh, the term, I mean, I'm in the business of mental health, right? And there's an actual like department in places called behavioral health, right? So what I wanted to ask you, as based on your experience, all the things that you've been through in your life, both personally and professionally, at this point now, when you hear the term or the words mental health, what are some of the thoughts that come up for you?
Yeah. So mental health to me right now, with not just what I'm going through, but this job is so amazing too, because I kind of get a dipstick of what everybody's going through at the same time, and you would be amazed. So, I mean, Charles, I have clients in New York. One of my New York clients actually went to New Zealand. And so I have
That is
somebody
so cool.
in a whole complete other country. So I have someone in New Zealand. I have New Yorkers. I have Kansans. I have Coloradoans. I have California, Texas. So I have all these zones, and of course I have Hawaiians,
Oh, of course.
or Islanders. And so it's amazing though that all this pool of folks that I have, the same themes really tend to run through everyone, and so that kind of helps guide my messaging a lot. And so I'll catch themes of the week by Friday when I'm sending things out, and like, whoa, I really feel like everybody has been struggling with being overwhelmed this week. I really notice that this week there's a lot of insecurity, or I have a majority of my clients that just weren't able to weren't able to deliver on their goals this week for whatever reason. So
Sure.
those themes are so universal, and I'm such an empath that like what they're going through kind of influences me as well. And so, and you just really see this imprint of, I wouldn't say human suffering. I feel like that's kind of that's kind of negative.
Strong.
But
Yeah,
but common themes that many humans are going through. So that's what I
absolutely.
kind of think of when I think of mental health right now.
Yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. I was very much looking forward to your answer on it because I spend most of my time working with people who are mental health providers, right, or therapists. So when we talk about mental health, it's like it's a mix, right? It's a mix of like the human stuff and treating people, helping people, supporting people, but also the business, the science, and it's just a different conversation than talking to someone like yourself. You work with people just like a lot of our therapists do, right? They're people from all walks of life. You just mentioned those great places that all these people are from. And it's very similar. You got a wide range, a wide pool of people, if you will, right? Older, younger, right? From this area, from that area, um, and the themes are constant, right? Since we're all human and we all kind of feel feelings the same way, right? Happy, sad, mad, fearful, and all the other great words to describe, the positive and the negative ones. So, yeah, I I think that's one great part about the industry that you're in is when you're directly helping people one on one or one to small groups, you can't help but see the themes and see the patterns and see how I like that you called yourself an empath. It's one of the things that make you good at what you do, right? You're able to really kind of feel that. And the people that are your people, your avatar, right? They get it. And they're like, they're in your zone or you're in their zone, whichever way is best to describe that. So yeah, thank you for that description. And now I wanted to ask you about overcoming adversity because for me personally, and it's what really prompted this interview, right? So one of my beliefs is that right growth happens when we're challenged. I also think people need to be challenged. In a weird way, when somebody I care about is going through something tough, I'm like, there's a part of me that's happy for them, but not happy that they're going through something tough, happy for what's on the other end, right? If you're able to get through those things, and getting through things is not always a solo mission, right? It's usually a group, a team, a fleet effort. It requires a lot of different sources of support along with yourself. But if you're able to get through those things, learn the lessons, right? You get the reps, you take the bruises too, unfortunately, and the wounds, but if you're able to get to the other side and extract the value out of it, the thing that makes you a better version of yourself, that's why I have like part of me is happy for someone I care about to go through something challenging. Now, I'm not wishing bad stuff on people, but I do wish like growth on people. So as a person just living in the world, I tend to gravitate towards overcoming adversity stories, right? Whether it's movies or TV shows or listening to podcasts or video clips. I love hearing about how someone say started a business. We'll just talk about business stuff. Started a business and nothing happened for 4 years. Right? But they just stayed the course. They just stayed the course. They took the lessons and then all of a sudden, boom. Or the kind of like funny stereotype of, man, it only took 15 years to become an overnight success. Like that idea just really resonates with me. So speaking of overcoming adversity, I know there's some stuff that you went through, and yeah, we would. I know it would be valuable and inspiring to our audience. So yeah, we'd love to hear about it.
Thank you. Yes. So, I would like to preface this story, and you can back me up here, that CrossFit's not dangerous. CrossFit is not a dangerous sport.
You know what's funny? We can get back to that because I actually skipped over that in my outline to talk about, hey, let's talk about some of the misconceptions about like fitness, CrossFit, nutrition, coaching, yeah. So we could totally get back to that, right? I would, yeah, I would love to.
Yes.
I ended up moving on just because like, man, we're talking about a lot of really great stuff here. And I know I would love for you to be able to share your story and kind of the thing that you've been overcoming and doing. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yes, CrossFit is not a dangerous sport,
Right.
but like anything in life, people can make bad decisions. Um, as a I have been an athlete for 6 years, 6 and a third years. I actually have a countdown clock. So,
Right on.
so 6 years and about 4 months. It's so people. Some people are like, "Wow, how did you get that? How are you able to do that? Or how did you get there?" And I said, there's nothing special about me. It's just more reps. It's just more practice. When you're in anything for a long time, you're just gonna get you're eventually you're with consistency. And I've never ever taken a break, ever. Ever in the 6 years that I've been doing CrossFit. I did not take a break when I got pregnant. I have never walked out of a workout. I've never quit anything ever.
Wow.
I had one that I was involuntarily removed from during my pregnancy, during COVID, where we had to wear masks. And I was on the bike and just started to go.
Right.
I was removed from that, but other than that, I've never ever taken a break. My biggest, I gave birth 4 days. So I was working out 4 days before I gave birth.
Oh gosh.
I was just working out to get that baby out, So Annie Thor's daughter, if you're into CrossFit, Annie Thor's daughter and I gave birth 2 days apart. I mean,
Wow. And she was working out probably 4 or 5 days before she gave birth to.
Yep. And yeah. And I worked out faithfully 5 days a week and just really kept my course. And so I never ever stopped. Well, again, 6 years down the line, I'm pretty confident in my abilities. And I made some mistakes. There was a workout and looking at it, it was abs. I love abs. Abs are my favorite. But when I looked at it, I just knew. And this was an elite workout. It was only for the top competitors, the top 10% of the CrossFit world. It was not for everybody. On my own, I decided to take on the challenge. And I was fine. It was ab. It was just 25 minutes of the most ab crunching that you can imagine.
Midline destruction.
Yes. And if you're into CrossFit, it was the quarterfinals workout of GHDs, rowing, and VS for 25 minutes.
I remember that. I
Mm-hmm.
remember that. I think I didn't do GHDs, but I did the sit-ups. And then I remember seeing, the elite athletes were getting trashed from that workout.
Yes. And no one, and I even think I did it by myself.
Mm.
It was not, so it was pushing it. It was really pushing it. And you know what? I probably would have been fine had I not come back the next day and did more abs. Had I not, had I not come back a third day and also did an hour of really tight Pilates abs. And I was, yeah, I made bad decisions. No one asked me to. I pushed myself too far. And that's why CrossFit is constantly varied. That was my mistake. CrossFit is constantly varied to hit in all the different muscles of your body so that overload doesn't happen. Yeah, so I started to notice pain. So in your rectus abdominis, those are your your ab muscles. So they look like six-pack muscles. So here's your six-pack muscles right here.
Yep.
I started to notice that on the right side, my middle one hurt. Well, I didn't really think anything of it. I just decided to take a rest, like half a day, and I came back again. And so you hear just a series of my own decisions at the time, just push, push, push. I was also going through a really stressful time in my own personal life, which I won't discuss, but it was putting me in a lot of emotional duress. Yeah, in my you've traveled a lot. When you live very far away from your family and your family's on another island, another continent, and there's nothing that you can do. And so that put me in some emotional distress. And I just decided to work out through it. I shouldn't have, because I broke my own rib.
Gosh.
I would seek help. I would go to emergency rooms. I would go to urgent cares in the military healthcare system, and I would be turned away time and time again.
Turned away? Oh, man.
I would be turned away. That they said it was like hysterical woman thing. Oh
Wow.
yeah, no, we don't see anything in the X-rays. You're fine. No, we don't see anything in the MRIs. You're fine. I was bent over. I couldn't extend
Couldn't like
my
stand up
ribs.
straight?
I
Oh
couldn't.
gosh.
I could not stand up straight. I could not bend over to pick things up because my abdomen bending to touch if it got near my thigh, it was excruciating. And so they would deny my rib being broken for 3 months. While they were denying it, the military healthcare system, they said, well, even if it is broken, all you can do is rest. So if you wait, so it'll be better in 12 weeks. I waited the 12 weeks and I did get better. In a day, it was so odd. I got better. I was able to train and ramp up my intensity, not to the degree it was, but I was able to pick up my intensity for about a week or two. And then it took a violent and horrifying turn. So at this point, I broke my rib in June. At this point, we're into October and I'm doing better. I was shopping. I was having a nice date with my husband. I went to go buy a Halloween costume for a party that we were going to go to in just 2 days. We were sitting in the car and suddenly it occurred to me terrifyingly that I couldn't breathe. I couldn't inhale or exhale. My ribs, so if you're to the side, my ribs had only that much room.
Oh man.
To expand and contract. There was no breathing. I was not able to speak. I wouldn't find out until later. I wasn't able to speak because I could not press and use my diaphragm.
Man.
My husband rushed me to the hospital where it was more of the same. You're fine, you're fine, you're fine. Here's a lidocaine patch, and here are narcotics. Go home and continue to lay down. I was on bed rest all the while. The amazing staff and fellow coaches at my CrossFit gym are covering for me, are holding it down. My clients are remaining faithful and strong. They're supporting me. And just the amount of support and love that I got from the, just like when I was getting married. The amount of support I would get from people, it helped. But the torture, the isolation, wondering what is wrong with me. I would lose everything. I would lose the ability to care for myself. I would lose the ability to care for my son. I could not prepare food for myself. I could not take care of my family. I lost everything. And then finally losing the ability to speak at all and nothing else.
Oh my gosh.
I wasn't living. I was living in, I was a tiny breathing and the muscle atrophy as I wasted away for a couple weeks and just wouldn't be able to move at all. It was terrifying. And it only got worse. I would get to the point where I would drink or eat any food, and as it was going through being digested, it would hit that right side, and it was excruciating. I did not think that I was going to live through it. And I mean, at this point, the Army is testing me and testing me and testing me. At this point, they're testing me for cancer. They don't have any other options. They don't know. I'm filled with radiation after radiation after radiation. They don't know. I checked in again. I mean, at this point, I think this is my fourth or fifth check-in to a hospital. For 10 hours at a time. Every time I was checked into the hospital, I would be in the hospital for 10 hours.
Damn.
Into ERs. And at this point, all it took was an ultrasound. I cannot tell you the amount of ultrasounds that I had. Pregnancy, probe outside. I just trying to find what is wrong. How can a 33-year-old fitness professional, strong, how can this woman, last week, she deadlifted 325 pounds. Now she's, and then over the course at the end, I would lose the ability to walk. So I was in a wheelchair.
My gosh.
And I told the nurses, I said, do not send me home. I whispered the best that I could, do not send me home. I will not live through this. I will not live through this. They didn't. They just kept me laying in that bed. And finally, they didn't know what to do. So they sent an intern, a team of interns with another ultrasound machine. And they said, there's a lump in there. And I whispered,
right.
I had been saying right underneath my rib.
Yeah.
There's a lump here. There's a lump. And they didn't do anything. So, finally, the intern said, there's a lump. They said, let's just go get the general director of surgery. Let's see what she says. She came in, poke. That's a lump. It's got to come out. I would be scheduled for surgery within a week. I was rushed into surgery, and they would find I was finally validated. The surgeon found a broken rib. She said, "It is broken." I ran my finger on it. It broke off.
Like
It
broke like, oh
Yeah,
gosh.
it
Full.
broke off.
Ooh.
It fused together like this, and in the fusing right here, 2 large tumors were formed.
Oh my gosh.
This amazing surgeon would save my life by going in, removing the 2 tumors, shaving out the rib bone and making it come back together and reform in a more natural way.
Yeah.
And all of the fruits of my labor, I would actually get better. I actually regained the ability to speak, walk, to lift my son, to hold my 3-year-old son who hadn't been held by his mother in 2 months. Yeah, I think that hurt the worst. That my son stopped asking me to hold him because he knew that I couldn't. Yeah, and so over the course of that, and then finally being able to come back, and it's every step of the way has just been like being resurrected.
Yeah.
And so
When did the surgery happen? When did you?
November the 3rd.
Okay.
We are just at 3 months post-op, and my muscle is returning. I'm coming back to life. I watched myself deteriorate. I watched my muscles atrophy. I watched myself fall into illness, like completely inexplicable illness. And now I watch myself come back to life. I watch myself with nutrition, with the support of my nutrition coach, my family, the gym. And I also have a client who provides physical therapy services for me virtually. And so weekly, I have physical therapy, Ashtanga yoga classes with her to regain all of my lost mobility and nerve regeneration.
Just like the series, the series of events that led to the deterioration, and then thank goodness for the interns, right? Like you had to advocate for yourself, like, don't send me home, leave me here. We all need to figure this out. And thank goodness for the interns grabbing that surgeon for you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So now, like you said, about 3 months post-op, gained a lot of function back, right?
Yeah.
When all this is happening, so selfishly, I have to ask, because knock on wood and all, one of my actual real biggest fears is losing like function, right? Because I like you have been active for a long time now, right? And then for me, even longer. I mean, I was a kid playing sports, so losing like those kind of the ability to take care of myself, like you said. I'm sure at this point, because you've been training like an athlete for long enough, that people know you as that, right? Like they know, like, oh, Ellie can grab that, right? Or hey, Ellie, can you help me grab this, whatever it is, right? Playing with your son, all those things, all pretty normal now. And for me, I've always been a little bigger guy, and usually the strongest person that not in the gym, like, in regular situations, usually I'm the strongest person within sight, right? Usually. So I was like, hey, can you help?
I
Like, yeah,
think
of course.
you're really strong. But yeah.
Thanks, Ellie. Thanks. So I've always had, I don't talk about it much because I really don't want to bring the energy to me, but what you described, like the loss of function, that literally is like my personal biggest fear. And I've had that fear my whole adult life, not being able to grab, lift, move, walk, run, pick something up, all of it. So
Yes.
when you're there, when you're in those spaces, if you don't mind sharing, what are some of like the like conversations or mantras, if you will? What are some of the kind of the recurring thoughts or patterns that you were having at that time?
Yeah, absolutely. That's so important because um, I would love to tell you, and anybody out there, I would love to tell you that I handled it well and I marched through with dignity. I didn't. I didn't. I laid on that once the day that I lost the ability to work, it was hell. It was hell. It was my personal hell.
Wow.
When I lost the ability to work and I lost the ability to take care of my son, I lost everything that meant anything to me. And I spent I policed how I spent my time. So I would spend some time numbing out where I would take, and I'm so anti-medication. I really, really am. I hate having to take medicine. But I took the pills. They said I had to take these nerve medications. Okay. They say I have to take NSAIDs okay, fine. And they say I have to ice it and care for it a certain way. So I would spend my day doing those things that they said I had to do to try and numb out. I would spend time feeling sorry for myself. I would spend
It's a
time,
favorite pastime of mine. I get it.
yeah. I
Yeah.
would spend time when I got and when I got tired of spending when I got tired of feeling sorry for myself, then I would be like, screw it, I'm just gonna color. I would
Like color, like in a coloring book?
yeah, I would
Okay.
color with markers. I think the best thing that I ever did was I started sending mail to my clients. And
Nice.
maybe CFWO doesn't know this, but yeah, so all of our clients received Thanksgiving cards and fall cards because that was when my suffering was the worst, and I wanted them to know how much I cared about them. And so I said, nothing is bringing me joy right now. So I will try to make others have joy. And so I decorated all these fancy cards just to send to people to let them know I care. That helped. That was the greatest thing I ever did. Um, yeah, and I just prayed and prayed and prayed, and I would just want, and I would, but the biggest thing that I did, stay off social media. If you are miserable, get off social media. You got to do something else. Even if you just sit outside and stare at nature or get some sun. Yeah, social media was where I would torture myself. You used to be able to do that. Look at that pull up, but you can't do one.
Yeah.
And I would just torture myself. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for that level of honesty. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, thank you for that. Because anyone going through any type of hard times, right? This kind of like physical thing or whatever, those feelings, I think a lot of people have those very similar conversations and, you know, um, maybe not willing to share and, be that vulnerable about it. So I really appreciate and respect, you for doing that. So thank you. And that actually leads me to ask now on the upswing, right? So you get the surgery, right? You get the surgery. At some point, I got to believe there's still part of your some thought like, I don't know if we actually figured it out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. The last time it felt better, it didn't feel better permanently. So, at what point, as you're recovering after the surgery, did you kind of feel, I think I turned the corner. I think we're actually doing this now. We're getting better.
Let me see. Today's Tuesday. So Saturday,
Okay.
3 months post-op.
3 months? Yeah. No, I love that.
um,
Yeah. Please. Yeah, sure.
yeah,
That's great.
when you're coming back from injury like that, you're going to be scared for a really long time. I was scared and insecure forever. And the great news about that, if you have a fitness professional, if you have a mental health professional, that's the biggest thing. Tell them about your insecurities. That's what I did. Is whenever I would be in the gym, I would push, but only to a certain point, and then I would back down because I was terrified. I was
Yeah,
terrified.
absolutely.
I'd feel a little something. Oh, I better stop. And once I had, and I did, I was cleared by my surgeon. But even after that, and I was cleared with 0 restrictions at all. At
Nice.
at 2 weeks, I was cleared at 2 weeks with no restrictions at all. But it would take me 6 weeks after that to be able to ramp up that intensity because I was terrified. And then
Absolutely.
after I was terrified, just like you so wisely said, that what if it comes back? What if she didn't get it all? Then once I started to realize that I think I was safe, that's when the battle began. That's when the real battle began. And I'm open about that battle whenever it happens in the gym. It happened, something happened last week. Last week, I was so hateful to myself for a whole week. It didn't matter what I did. If I came into the gym and if I RX'd, for non-CrossFitters, that means, you're just at the top of your game. You are the fastest, strongest, and so it wouldn't matter. If I RX'd the workout, I would kneecap myself and I would be like, well, you RX'd that, but that's because it was easy.
Mm, yeah.
Well, you barely made, yeah, you finished, but only like by 3 seconds. And then finally, I had this workout, and we needed to share equipment. And the way we share equipment is by similar body heights.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
needed to share a bike with somebody. And I said, I bike at a 4. Who bikes at a 4? And I heard somebody, I didn't know who it was. Someone behind me yelled, I have a 4. And I went, awesome, I'll be your partner. And I flipped and I turned
Who
and I
was it?
almost crapped my pants because it was one of the our top
Like fittest
our
women in
top
the gym or something?
are one of our top skilled male
Oh,
athletes.
one of the fittest guys in the gym?
Dead in the water, dead in the
Okay.
water. And it was 5 rounds with this guy. And I was like, and the whole time I don't work, like I said, from roller derby, I do not do well under pressure. And so for the first 3 rounds, I was like, you better hurry up. You better hurry up. You're not. And then I would be sinister to myself. You're not fast enough to beat Kyle, or you're not fast enough to be Kyle's partner. You're not strong enough to be Kyle's partner. What are you even doing? And I would say these things and hear them in my heart and just with everything. But by round 3, when I was doing okay, and I suddenly realized, why are you putting yourself through this? And I literally said, and I shook my head like an Etch-a-Sketch, and I went, are you done? Because I really just needed to tell myself, are you done talking down? Are you done doubting? Like, can we leave that behind? And I laughed and I giggled, and I had the greatest workout that I have had forever because I just let go and I just decided to have fun. And and that's what I would say. You got to control your thought life, because whatever you tell, once you decide something, that's how it will be. And so what a
Right.
shame it would have been had I decided I am not good enough to be around Kyle at all. Man, I don't know how long I would have been there. And I'm just so glad I just was like, let it go. Just let it go. And so that's kind of how the journey has evolved. Just letting go, having fun again. And so whatever, I'm just so grateful to have fun and to
Yeah.
be able to move. It's the biggest gift. And I didn't have that for 7 months, but I do now. And I think I thank the Lord or whoever fills up your spirit. I think that every single day because I found it again and I'm not ever going to let it go. So that's a little bit about what I
That's
what I've been
answer.
through.
Yeah. Ellie, thank you so much for sharing that ordeal. I got to imagine one of the most challenging things that you've ever been through personally, throughout your
Yeah.
life. So thank you so much for sharing that level of detail, the entire kind of history. And I love how you said, well, a few days ago is maybe when I started feeling like we turned the corner and actually getting better. And we're 3 months post-op. Obviously, I'm going to ask you about it a few more months down the line, and I would love to hear your perspective, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, next year, right? Like so on and so forth. So before we kind of start working on wrapping up our show today, I wanted to, I asked our guests, I started asking our guests for like different advice for like different parts of people's careers or, mostly careers. So I think what's very interesting about your story is that you changed careers as an adult, right? Like a lot of the people that I've met, a lot of the people I work with, they've kind of just been on the same path ever since high school, college, master's, so on, and they just kind of stayed on that path. So you're actually the first person I got a chance to talk to who has changed careers as an adult. So for someone who's in their career right now, they've already done the college thing, they've been working for a few years, they're earning money, or maybe they started a family, maybe not, whatever. What kind of advice or, yeah, what kind of advice or points or thoughts would you share with someone who's thinking, man, I may not be on the career that I should be on, and they're thinking about making a change?
I think you've given me a little bit more credit than I deserve because there is a statistic in teaching. There's a very large, I hate being a statistic, but it's true. In teaching, there's a very real statistic that 5 years is about a good run for teachers before burnout, before career change. So unfortunately, I did kind of stay the course with that. But I will say that the hardest career decision I ever had to do, and I'll like get escalofrios, I get goosebumps still thinking about it to this day, is the decision to leave, to actually walk out on a gym, to actually leave my job coaching at one gym and to go to another. Really similar to change paths.
Yeah.
When I was looking for a new CrossFit gym, potentially, the owner of the gym had this as her quote, and I knew that it was destiny. It fit better than anything else I've ever seen in my entire life. These were her words: I am not stuck, and I can choose to create a different path at any point in my life. Sometimes it's easier to ignore that voice inside us because it may seem too hard or just out of reach or impossible. Just start. That tends to be the hardest part, starting. You might amaze yourself and realize what you're capable of all along. So, to sum it up, her favorite quote is by F. Scott Fitzgerald: I hope you live a life you're proud of. If you find that you're not, I hope you have the courage to start all over again. I started all over again at CrossFit West Oahu, and it's changed my whole entire life. So, no matter where you are in your life, I hope you have the courage to start again if you're not happy, because there is so much on the other side. So that's that is the life changing and life saving thing that I made that jump.
Ellie, that's beautiful. I love quotes. I have several that are always on top of my head, some of my favorites. I have not heard that one by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I will definitely look it up and kind of keep that in my rotation. I love quotes, and they're a big part of how I learn. So thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, so before we get to my last couple of questions, uh, you mentioned the name of your company. It's Elevated Fitness and Nutrition. So how can someone watching, anyone, how can someone support your work? Where can they find you, connect with you, social media, whatever you want to share? Like, how can we support your work and get connected?
I appreciate that. You know what? I try to stay pretty simple. I am on Instagram, Elevated Fitness Nutrition HI. On Instagram, and Elevated, I don't know, we put a little blurb,
Oh,
is
right. Yeah,
spelled
it's
kind of
It's like
differently. It's
Ellie. It's
EL
like Yes, right. Elevated.
LE, like my name.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we can
L
definitely
E
make
L
notes to link
I
that up. Yes.
VATED, Fitness Nutrition HI on Instagram. And those
Fantastic.
Travis was talking about, thank you so much. Some of those just tips, some wellness, sending out a little bit of love, just to people all over the world, because yeah, I just believe nobody should ever have to live an unhappy life. Nobody should ever be in pain. And so if there's anything that I could say to help anybody, um man, what a privilege that would be. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. We'll make sure we get that typed up correctly. Elevated fitness and nutrition, or elevated fitness nutrition Hawaii, HI. Awesome.
Yeah.
So this part of our show I've been looking forward to because it gives me a chance just to, well, kind of tell a little backstory of how I know you, for one, right? We got connected, and then uh just, share some kind words from my heart to you. So for one, I really love how you mentioned that you're
Travis, I'm a
not.
crier.
Okay. I am too. I am too. So I know you mentioned that you're not good with pressure, and the reason I love that so much is I've come to learn and accept over the years that I'm not good with pressure either. And I come from the male athlete background, right? And you know exactly what I'm talking about, all the macho, sports, related things. And that's not a good thing if you're not good under pressure when you're a dude growing up in that life. So, but I don't know, I just learned somewhere in my 30s maybe, I don't know, that I don't thrive well under pressure. What I do really well is I focus on things really well for long stretches, and I'm a planner. So the way that I handle kind of things going awry is I just kind of have to have plan A, B, C, D, and multiple plans, and that's how I that's how I deal with that. Yeah.
Do you see it's
Ellie,
next to me?
I I did. I love that. That is so great. Um, I know we were introduced. So when I first heard about you from one of our business partners, Victoria, co-owner across the West Oahu, she just said, "Hey, I met this woman. She's awesome, and I think she'd be a good fit." I'm like, "Okay, cool, that'd be great." And then I remember we got to meet on video, just like this, a handful of different times. And one of the things I've really liked about you, and now as we've known each other for a year-ish, something like that, I really come to love about you. I see when I see you, when I hear your voice, when I see your name on a text, whatever, I just kind of think sunshine. And that's what you kind of mean to me. Like if I see your name, I kind of associate that kind of brightness, empathy, love, good spirit, energy. And that's why I was so glad that when we were texting, whenever it was the other week, that you were coming back, from this injury that you had in the recovery process, and the adversity you'd gone through. And I'm like, oh man, what a perfect time. I knew I was shooting the show, and I thought it'd be great for us to catch up. And I know there's a lot of value in the things that you just mentioned. So I just wanted to let you know that sunshine, that's what I think about when I think about you. So I'm very thankful to be able to work with you. And yeah.
That means so much to me. Uh and I have to be honest that I appreciate that comment more now than I ever have. Because when you lose your glimmer and you lose your sunshine, and now that I have it back, Watch out, world.
Yep. She's elevated.
Thank
Again.
you. Thank you so much.
Awesome, Ellie. Okay, so here is our kind of signature question, our last question of the day of the show for you. So here it goes. When you listen to your heart, what does it say?
To love others.
To love others. Oh man, such great advice. And just keep spreading that love. Awesome. Ellie, thank you so much for being on the show.
And thank you for tuning in to Listen to Your Heart. If you'd like to help our mission, check out the link in our bio to visit our store or make a donation to our nonprofit, Imua Heart. Like, comment, and share with friends and family. Subscribe for future episodes, and together we can Imua towards a happier, healthier Hawaii. Until next time, mahalo.